Early on I realized that I needed a way to measure how thick something was, and so I took a standard inexpensive digital caliper and I made a pair of arms that would fit and touch each other like this. And so I can turn this on and I can zero it, and then I can take a measurement like this. Right now what I'm trying to find out is how thick is the lid at various places, because I'm about to trim it. So that's 154. Here it's 194. Down here it's 244, and right near where the knob is, it's 0.467. So that tells me that I can very carefully trim the lid down a bit before I do the knob. I don't want to do the knob until I've done the thickness correctly. And the same method I use for trimming plates, I can use for this. I know that I've got a certain amount of cut I can take here, so I'm going to start by grooving the thickest areas like this with a set of grooves. And I know as I get out here further, I have to make the groove shallower and shallower. These are just guide grooves. All they're for is to help me to see that I've made a certain amount of progress. I know approximately how deep the grooves are. So what I just did here is I cut away the heaviest part, and I know that past this point the lid is the correct thickness already. I'm just going to feather into it. Now here's where the idea of using the caliper really shines, is I can come back and I can make sure that I haven't left it too thick yet. So I'm going to power the caliper on, and I take it like this, and I don't need to measure out there. Here's where I'll start, right where I trimmed to. And that's 0.22, that's 0.23, that's 0.23. So in one pass I got the lid all the same thickness all the way to the center knob. I can put this away. Digital caliper is so easy to use because there's no interpretation. You simply take the reading. Now here's my knob tool. And what I've done is ground a rounded tip that will cut the curve that I want under the knob. I'll take the bumps off this first, because I don't want that to interfere with my hand moving in. But watch, here's the cut, curling this material out. I just move it gently back and forth. And I don't want the groove to be much bigger than the tip of this tool. That's why I made the knob extra tall, is by making the knob extra tall, I have plenty of playroom to make sure that I get a nice looking knob. The clay is cheap. Making an ugly lid that nobody would want and ruining a nice piece by virtue of an ugly lid just doesn't make a lot of sense. So now I've got the knob almost the size I want right here, so I'm going to finish smoothing that up. And now I'm going to take my other tool here and I'm going to begin cutting the knob down for thickness. This is a loop tool that's made with tungsten carbide, and it's essentially a scraper tool with a hole in the center. It's a loop. Really easy to use. And my plan eventually is to write a comprehensive book on how to make your own tools, and I'm going to title it The Hairless Potter Series, and the title of the book will be Fantastic Tools and How to Make Them. Of course, in it you'll see I'll try to give enough detail that anybody can make your own tools without spending a lot of money. Here's the finishing step, and especially tools that aren't available. That's often the case, like the caliper I just showed you and the other things I make. They just don't exist. No one makes them. No one's likely to make them because there isn't enough volume. Now all I'm doing with this is I'm going to take this and just go by feel, and I'm just smoothing this till it blends perfectly with the shape of the casserole lid here. And then this is a critical step that these tools all have, is they have this rounded section that I've polished and ground that allows me to burnish, and the burnishing step makes this take a glaze finish that's much smoother than if I leave it in the just rough trimmed finish. So this polishing process is very light, only a little tiny contact area, so that it doesn't hurt or harm or indent or flex the piece at all. And then here is polished to the center. And so that the glaze will take really nicely on these areas, I very carefully roll this tool and it gets rid of any sharp spots. And then I've constructed a device here that I call a raptor claw. And it is just a piece of clay that I pulled into a rounded shape that I glazed everywhere. And it is used for burnishing in areas that you can't reach. And it has a whole variety of curves on it intentionally so that it will polish every last bit of surface area that you have anywhere. And now this is a perfectly fit lid, and it fits the casserole absolutely perfectly. So now you have a way to make casserole lids that fit the casseroles every time.